made to you so special? Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn!
Were you scared of it? No, not at all.
No, I'm from Brooklyn.
You're from Brooklyn, huh?
I just wanna rap.
Okay, guys, Frank Stout, just a guy from Brooklyn, and I'm here to talk about Gladiator 2. When I first heard that Gladiator 2 was going to come out, I really was like, really? How is that possible? Maximus is dead. His family's dead. How do you continue that story? I started to get information here and there. Heard that it was about Lucius, the young boy from the first movie, who wasn't related to Maximus. I was like, okay, they're going to go with him. I wonder how that's going to work. And then I heard that Denzel Washington's going to be in it. And I'm a big Denzel fan. So if Denzel's going to be in it, I got to go check it out. I had already gone in with mediocre expectations. This even failed that. I'm aware that Gladiator, the first one, is not historically accurate. I am also aware it's not perfect. Most movies aren't. But it was a serious movie. It had outstanding performances, a fantastic score, and the people of my generation hold it pretty sacred. It's a banger. It's a huge banger. And that's kind of the thing here. If you don't give a rat's ass about the first movie, then you're probably going to enjoy this movie. It's just got so much sword and sandals action. You've got these huge sets. Cinematography is great. It's epic. To me, it feels like a kind of a weird mix of like Gladiator and something like Jurassic World, maybe kind of like a Fast and the Furious kind of thing going on there. It's in those kind of realities. It's not really grounded like the first movie was. This movie's gonna make a lot of money. And there's no doubt about that. It's got Denzel, it's a Gladiator, it's got the Gladiator IP. How does this movie connect to the first movie? And it really isn't a reveal per se, because it was in all the trailers. There was no secret here. They tried to pretend like it was a secret. The first half of the movie, pretend like, oh, you don't know what's going on. Yeah, you do. And everybody knew, but they played this kind of game with the audience. Lucius was secretly Maximus's son. And that is a huge problem for me. That was like the big red flag that really crossed it for me. Maximus is a huge character in cinema. He was clearly a moral man. There's nothing in the first movie that hints to any of that. Maximus meets Lucius's mother early in the film before Marcus Aurelius dies. Maximus doesn't even want to talk to her. He's trying to get away. She's crushing on him, and she's like, come here, Maximus, let's talk. We haven't seen each other forever. And he kind of even insults her a little bit, you do whatever you have to do to survive. He's basically just putting her down, and she's like, look, I got to do what I got to do. It's my family. And she gets into it with him. They talk about their respective families. He's got his wife. He's got his own son. She has a son from a husband who passed away, which is why she's obviously crushing on him now. There is no sign of any infidelity anywhere, nor would it work, because the rest of the movie plays out that way. It doesn't play that Lucius is any way connected to Maximus in that way. The ending of Gladiator is so epic. When he's about to die, she runs up to him and says, she's like, go to your wife, go to your son, go to them. So basically this movie is saying, when she ran up to him and said that, she's saying, yeah, go to your wife and child who I helped you cheat on. Can you do that with certain movie characters? They did it with Apollo Creed in the movie Creed. You can do it with Apollo Creed. You cannot do it with Maximus. My next point is the big battles. They had a lot of battles involving animals. They set things off with a group of gladiators fighting these kind of prehistoric CGI baboons. They look like something like that wolf from the movie 300. 300 is a movie that's based on a graphic novel. So you can get away with stuff like that. that's a movie based on a comic book. Yes, I know the first Gladiator movie uses tigers. CGI technology it was in its infancy. They used these tigers very sparingly. It's not on that level. This is like full on battle. Next thing you know, you got a gladiator on top of like a huge rhino. Like I said, if you like this kind of action, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the rhino thing. The guy on top of a rhino holding the sword up. Now, in ancient Rome, did they use animals for sport, for fights like this? Abso-freaking-lutely. I don't deny that. But the Colosseum was instituted in 81 AD. There is no record of these animals ever being used in that kind of way at the Colosseum. A huge aquatic battle. So apparently they took the Colosseum full of sand. Somehow they were able to empty out all the sand, fill up the area with water, put huge boats, and I'm talking ships, huge ships, to battle in a kind of naval battle. But guess what? Wait for it. That's not enough here. They put hungry sharks in the water. How they got the sharks in there, I have no clue. Yes, I know that these naval battles were a thing back in Rome back then. Again, not at the Colosseum. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that they were. The following battle, which happened shortly after, probably just a couple of days after, the water's gone. The ships are gone. The sharks are gone. Even if they had a huge army of people ready, contractors, whatever. And just so you know, I'm not dumb. I know that the Romans were very technologically advanced. They had indoor plumbing, they had aqueducts. I know all about that stuff. Listen, I've gone on a lot of back and forth about this subject. There's no freaking way you're getting rid of all that stuff from the Colosseum so that you can put sand back in and then have battles shortly after. It's just not physically, logistically possible. And it's just freaking ridiculous. And I was just palm facing the whole time throughout this movie. Denzel, Pascal, Mescal, they were great. I'm not putting any of this on them. They were given the material and they did the best that they could with it. And I have no fault with them. This is not on them. Now let's talk about the new villains. And the new villains, they have a pair of twin Caesars, which apparently are from a pair of twin Caesars from history. So that's nice. Guess what? These two characters were cartoon characters. They were ridiculous. They might as well have been freaking Beavis and Butthead up there doing absolute just buffoonery. I was not feeling any of that, not buying any of the bread here. Eventually they make Denzel the new villain. He kind of strategically, through all the events that play out, he kind of moves into power. My whole thing is, how could he have predicted that there's no way you could plan all these things to happen the way they happen? So what was his plan? It didn't make any sense to me. There's no way he could have planned all those things to happen exactly the way they happened so that he can move in the way he did. This movie wanted to connect to the first movie so bad that throughout the movie they had all these callback scenes, constantly showing Maximus getting on one knee, grabbing the dirt, rubbing it in his hands. They got other people doing that. It felt off. It felt hollow. It did not work for me at all. And then you get to the ending. Again, they want to tie it to that first movie. Lucius run back into the Colosseum, get on one knee, grab the dirt. The old scene with Maximus walking through the wheat field with his hand brushing up against the wheat. With the song, the epic song that played at the end of the first movie. And God, like really? That's how you're connecting this? Like, come on, man. Like, I can't, man. It felt so disrespectful to the first movie. Yes, I know Ridley Scott made both movies. So how could it be a disrespect, right? Absolutely. What are you saying? Ridley Scott can't make a bad movie? Guess what? Ridley Scott's made some really, really bad movies. He's made some really huge hits, just like all directors. They make some good ones, they make some bad ones. Ridley Scott, love Ridley Scott. I mean, he made freaking Alien, for Christ's sake. Do you know how he followed up Alien many, many years later? He followed it up with Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which are nowhere near on the level of Alien. At the end of the day, my opinion doesn't mean jack shit. I'm not saying you're not gonna like it. To me, it's all about whether or not you cherish that first film. If you cherish that first film, I think you're gonna have problems with it just like I did. If you don't care about it, you're gonna have some fun with this movie. It's fun. I mean, it's got guys on rhinos and sharks. The movie's gonna make a ton of money. And don't be surprised if you hear like a third movie, you know, in development. Maybe the next time the gladiators will fight, against dinosaurs or in outer space or something. Who knows? Besides the first Gladiator, there's plenty of great sword and sandal movies and shows. You've got Troy. You've got the Spartacus TV series that Stars release, and I think that's 20 times better than this crap. I think I've said my due. And from the BK, from the city that never sleeps.
See my face in lights,
Peace, baby.
on my name on marquees found down on Broadway. Even if it ain't what it seems, I got a pocket full of dreams, baby. I'm from New York, concrete jungle where dreams are